Little discussion I wanted to do on UFC versus Strikeforce. I gotta say, man, the last few months, we've seen all kinds of injuries with UFC. You know, Todd Duffy, heavyweight champion Brock Lesnar. UFC is just falling upon hard times, huge, big time. With all the really bad times that UFC's had in the last 3-4 months, it's like, man, what the heck's going on with the UFC? UFC always brings on, you know, hard-ass good fights. But you know what? Last couple months, ain't bringing on shit. Come on, man. A main event? Tito Ortiz versus Forrest Griffin? That's a main event? No, that's a jack-off session. How good do you think Tito Ortiz is going to do in his next few fights? He might do a little better than the first comeback against Forrest Griffin, which Forrest Griffin completely schooled him. You know what? I'll tell you what. Mark Coleman, everybody's been talking about Mark Coleman being a joke in his comeback. Everybody's been talking about it. You know what? Take a look at the performance that Tito Ortiz put on with Forrest Griffin. How do you think Mark Coleman would have done that? I think Mark Coleman might have took Tito Ortiz down and beat his fucking ass. You know, it's supposed to be what, UFC 112 or 111 or 1000. I don't know. I have no idea. But there's talk of Randy Couture versus Mark Coleman. Come on, give me a fucking break, man. Seriously? Are you serious? For real? That's the best match you can put on? Mark Coleman versus Randy Couture? That's a main event? I'm not even going to say. I'm not even going to say Randy Couture will kill him. Because you'd think, normally, Randy Couture would kill Mark Coleman. Kill him. Done. You know, any Randy Couture fan out there, how sure have you been behind Randy Couture lately? Really, man, think about it, man. Think about it. Randy Couture, on his last, let's say, 3 fights, you know, I'll give him that. He did good against Brock. But you know what? He got caught. Randy Couture got a questionable chin. Randy Couture goes in with a badass puncher, he's going to continuously go down. Period. I don't care what anybody says. Randy's a great coach. Is Mark Coleman going to fare well against a Randy Couture? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so at all. I think Randy Couture's going to have way too much in the gas tank. I don't think Mark Coleman's going to punch hard enough to knock out a Randy Couture. Because I don't think Mark Coleman's a real puncher these days. Maybe back in the day, you know, back in the day when he fought Igor Vovchanchyn in Pride, fought Fedor in Pride, you know, those were Mark Coleman days. Those were the days when Mark Coleman was really good. That was his prime. But today, no. You're getting your fucking ass whipped? Come on, man. Seriously. There's a lot of fighters out there, and you know, I'm not paying no disrespect to Mark Coleman and Randy Couture. I like them both, man. They're both great, and they both are pinnacles, period. Pinnacles and staples in the sport, period. But you know what? They've come to a point where, you know what, enough is enough. Every time you get hit, you're hitting the deck. UFC 109, I think, is a Renzo Gracie versus Matt Hughes. Battle of the Hall of Famers match, kind of deal. I'll bet you any friggin' money it's going to be UFC Hall of Famers because I think it's going to be Renzo Gracie versus Matt Hughes, which Matt Hughes already friggin' humiliated Royce Gracie. Okay, he friggin' made him look like a beginner, and Royce Gracie was the one to always run out and make 6'2" guys at 300 pounds look like beginners with the submission tactics. But you know what? Shit evolves, man. You know, you can't stay the same. And you know what? I'm sorry. Royce stayed the same. Got rid of the gi. You know, whether that was a rule or not in the UFC Matt Hughes fight, I have no idea. But Royce went in there without a gi and got his fucking ass handed to him. Finished Royce Gracie. I mean, got him in every bad move that Royce Gracie had. Matt Hughes finished him. And who beat Matt Hughes? GSP, BJ Penn. The list goes on. You know, Matt Hughes got a book now. Yeah, I got a book now. Yeah, I'm writing some stuff. I'm special now. You know, whatever, man. Write your book, man. That's cool. Because you know what? You'll probably be the first one to do it, and you'll probably make some money off it, and that's great. The hardships with UFC right now and Strikeforce is UFC's done pretty good in the last couple of years. They've done great. UFC 100, they've done excellent. But you know what? As soon as all these injuries started really catching on, UFC, such pulled out of this match. You know, Todd Duffy's pulled out of this match. Brock Lesnar's pulled out of this match. Shane Carwin. Shane Carwin's pulled out of this match, even though Brock Lesnar already pulled out. You know, and it's like it's just a friggin' windmill of injuries going on in the UFC. It's just a friggin' mistake. It's just a train wreck waiting to happen. And then all the while, what does Strikeforce get? Strikeforce gets Dan Henderson. Strikeforce gets Bobby Lashley. Strikeforce gets Fedor Emelianenko. I'm talking about over the last year. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about over a period of time here. Yeah, UFC has done great. We've gotten Gegard Mousasi. We've gotten Herschel Walker, which I'm not expecting a damn thing from. Come on, man. Any MMA fan has got to see that Strikeforce right now is making an awesome move against UFC right now. Strikeforce right now is fucking attacking UFC right now. And you know what? Lana White can do whatever she wants. I don't know. But you know what? One thing I have noticed is whenever she gets attacked, she jumps on the defense and she'll start degrading people around her and saying all kinds of nasty stuff. Excuse me. Saying all kinds of nasty stuff about opposite fighters. She wasn't saying very good things about Dan Henderson when Dan Henderson signed with Strikeforce. Which, if Strikeforce is going to sign Dan Henderson and pay him the money that he demands, come on, let's get that straight, man. Seriously. Dan friggin' Henderson knocked the living block off of your poster boy over in England. Knocked the living shit out of Bisping. Ended, as far as I'm concerned, put his career on hold. Was just a head blown up huge, thinking that he was the best thing to ever hit the canvas, and he may have been right, because he hit the canvas with a friggin' vengeance. And he went down like a bag of sand, and Dan Henderson made sure of that. That's the way the UFC treated him. On a Bisping. Hit the deck, had nothing to say. Even after the friggin' follow-up hammer punch right to the friggin' face. I'm gonna make him fight me. I'm gonna knock him out. He said everything you could ever say in the friggin' book about beating Dan Henderson. I'm gonna knock him out. He didn't even come close. You got your ass handed to you, dude. And I'll tell you what, as soon as that happened, Paul Daly should have been the new poster boy for UFC to get a ticket into England. Because we all know for damn sure, that the only reason why the UFC was fucking following Bisping was because it was a free ticket into England. A whole new place. Here's our poster boy right here. Now, when he got his ass fucking knocked out, you should have jumped over to Paul Daly. Paul Daly kicked the living shit out of Martin Kampmann. Martin Kampmann was a badass fighter coming into that fight. He was a badass fighter. Paul Daly had every answer for Martin Kampmann, so why did they keep on blowing Bisping? Bisping sucked. UFC, scraped his balls off the canvas and sucked his balls a little bit. And you know what? What has Strikeforce been doing this whole time? In that time, we've signed Dan Henderson, the guy that collected Bisping with one punch. One single punch. One punch. He didn't need to do that secondary hammer fist punch. He didn't need to do that. He did that for revenge. He did that for one purpose. To shut your fucking mouth.